Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the Create Your Life video series, where we're talking about creating your life and going beyond mediocre to infinite possibilities. And this, I was just saying that this series has been so amazing, so many gifts, so many contributions. It's like, wow. And so today we have Betsy McLoughlin is here with us today to talk about creating your life using some of the Access tools. She is an international best-selling author of 8 books, a radio show host, a certified facilitator, a transformational coach, a body process facilitator, a Being You adventure facilitator, a right body for you taster facilitator, and so much more. And she thrives on contributing to clients in classes and during private sessions and welcomes the opportunity to explore possibilities with you. And Betsy has contributed to many businesses as a creative director, expanding them exponentially. And so this creator and magician of magnitude has been featured on the Ask Bon Bon TV show, numerous radio shows, and telesummits. And you can find out more about her radio show, Imperfect Brilliance, on the Inspired Choices Network. And Betsy's vibrant personality is the space of no judgment and allowance and is the catalyst for quicker happiness. She would love to create new possibilities with you. Are you ready? Obviously you are. That's why you're here. So we're so excited that Betsy is here with us to share some of her favorite tools of Access Consciousness and how she is using them to create her life. So Betsy, welcome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Truly.
Me too. It's like, it's so amazing. And I've been like, like we've been in our sphere for a while, right? And so I love what you create. And so I wanted to ask you, we'll talk about creation in a few minutes, but first I wanted to ask you to share your story first about how you got started with Access and what are some of your favorite tools.
Wow. Well, thank you. I got started, let's see, I had a large period of my life where I was really not very happy. I was very depressed and it was spiraling just kind of worse and worse, out of control. I am miserable and unhappy, had a lot of body issues, a lot of pains. I had cancer, I had surgeries, I had a lot of stuff going on, and it was just getting worse and worse. And I was like, and didn't realize what I was doing then, but I was like, there's got to be something different, or I'm not sure I want to be here anymore. I was contemplating suicide, and it was like, if this is all there is, I just don't know that I want to be here. Mm-hmm. And so through that, I started exploring different modalities. I found Reiki and some other things that contributed quite a bit, because I had gotten to the point, I had gone to therapy, and I was tired of hearing myself say the same thing over and over every week, and like, feeling like I was making little progress, but I was like, right. And so I found Reiki, and then I found a friend of mine, we became very close online, actually met her first that way, and then met her in person. And she called me one day and said, I had this thing, I just did this thing I think you'll really like. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I'm very curious by nature. And turned out to be about Access bars. And so I went online and found somebody in my area, and nobody was having a class then. So I'm like, oh, it just was pulling at me like, oh, this sounds really neat. And so I scheduled a private session, and I went and had it with her. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing for me. I didn't have the all like in my mind. And I remember sitting in the parking lot. This is about 5.5, 6 years ago at this point. And I was just like, wow. And so from there, I was like, holy moly, I want to find out more about this. And so I went and took classes. I took one class, and then I felt so amazing. I said, oh my gosh, I really would like to, share this with other people. And I was a Reiki master, and I had taught some classes. And for me, I just kept thinking that there's still something. And so for me, when I found the bars, and the contribution that was to me, and helping me like get out of that depression, get out of the suicidal thoughts. And from there, I was like, this is just amazing. And learning all the tools and everything, I really desired more and more. I just wanted to find out more and more and more. And so that was how my journey started with access consciousness. So thanks for asking.
It's interesting how so many of us have had a similar story, you know, of where we were when we first started with access, you know, or some experiences that we've had have been so similar. It's like, wow. So what are some of the favorite tools that you use to move from that space to where you are now?
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many. I would say the things that I really like, I use every day are questions. And that's the thing that I love about Access is it empowers you to know what you know and to ask questions. So and staying out of conclusion and staying out of answers. So some of the questions are, how does it get better than this? And what else is possible? And I was laughing about it. I don't even know how many times a day I say it. And it just rolls off my tongue now. And it really works for me it can change anything. So if there's something that in the past I would think was, something awful or horrible or something wonderful or anything in between, if I say like, what else is possible? Or how does it get better than this? How does it even get better than this? Like you could be so joyful and it could be just the most amazing thing. And even then I'll say, how does it get even better? And it's that question of inviting the universe to contribute to you that I simply love.
Exactly. Me too. I use those questions all the time. What else is possible here? And how does it get any better than this? I use them all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I don't even know how many times,
Right.
And I was talking about to somewhere, I said, I use the all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory.
Yes.
Every morning, every night, sometimes in between.
Yes, definitely.
Right. And it's about inviting that ease and that joy and that glory, inviting more of what you desire into your life. Right.
Definitely. Absolutely.
And so
always being that invitation and question. Yes.
Exactly. And so and especially getting out of conclusion, and getting out of your head, because I was one of those people who was always in conclusion and always in my head and always trying to control everything.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Right. And how did that work out?
I know. It's like, oh, yes. Control freak of magnitude over here too.
And so, and I got to that point as well, where it's like, okay, this is not working for me. And I was suicidal and all that wonderful stuff. And I said to the universe, this is not what I signed up for. So it's amazing how we know that, we know that this can't be it. This is not everything. This is not how my life is supposed to be. It's like something else is possible. It's like, what else is there? Right.
Right. Absolutely.
So just even knowing that and asking that question of what else is possible, because I know something else is possible for me. I deserve something else, or, like for me, it's like, I did not sign up for this. And if this is it, I'm out of here. Right. That's just my thing. It's like, this is not it. I'm out of here. Because no, so for me, that's not really a control, but it's like a demand for my life. Right.
Yes. And that was, that definitely was for me as well. It was a demand, like something's got to change here because this just does not work.
And so can you talk a little bit about that, that demand for your life? Because I know that in Access, they say, we're not demanding of the universe, we're demanding of our lives. So and it took me a while to get that. It's like, what does that mean?
Well, and it's interesting too, because I still am seeing where, there's the what else is possible, then there's the ask, and there's the demand, and sometimes they're the same and sometimes they're different. And like in that situation for both of us, like we didn't, for me, I didn't realize that it was really a demand at that point, that something was going to change, and it's when you get to that point, because for a long time I just kind of went along and I just did whatever. And then I pretended, I was very good at pretending that everything was good when it really wasn't. And I had like this this mask on.
Yeah.
And then I just got to the point where and when you get to that point of saying, all right, this is my demand that this changes, from the energies then shift and propel things forward. Like when we ask the universe for something, the universe is like waiting for us to ask, and I'm still getting that, and still playing with it. And I see that will be a continual thing where the universe is always looking to answer what we're looking for. And when we're not clear in what we're asking for, it's kind of hard for to even get an answer. And I actually did a call with a great friend of mine, Maggie Emerson, who you've had on recently. Yep. And it was, are you confusing the universe? It was like, what are you asking for? Because if you're not clear, then if you're not clear with yourself, how are you supposed to even get that from anything or anyone else? Right. So I've learned, through these tools and the questions and everything, to really be clear with what I'm asking for, what am I demanding, and are you asking big enough is one of the things I'm like, I haven't been. Right? So are you asking big enough?
Well, see, and that's the thing. I don't know, like, I think I have this thing about asking because I never used to ask for anything to begin with. Like I mean, I have a huge support team, beings of light and all that wonderful stuff, huge, and they're there always, right? But I don't ask for anything. I ask that they just be present, right? But I don't ask for anything. And for the longest time, it was because I didn't deserve, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't worthy, blah, blah, blah. Yes. I got over that. It's like, all right, that's not an issue anymore. But now it's like, what do I ask for? It's like, I don't know. Like, can you talk to us about, and so number one, first question. First thing for you, is it possible for you to not wear headphones for a second to see how the sound is? Because we hear a lot of clicking all the time.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, isn't that something? Sorry, thank you for letting me just turn the volume up here a little bit so I can hear you guys. Sorry about that. It might have been might be my bracelet clanking around.
I'm not sure, but as you were talking, there was all this clicking, and it's like, okay, maybe it's her microphone, maybe it's maybe something. Okay,
I'm not typing.
Good, perfect. All right, so then the thing about the question. So who all has a question about how to ask, right? And so if you would like to, and I'm putting you on the spot now, Betsy, unfortunately for you, but
in the hot seat.
You're in the hot seat. So for all of you watching and listening right now, if you have a question about asking, if you want to raise your hand or unmute yourself and you can ask as well, that would be great. Because I think that's where I'm having a little bit of confusion about asking. It's like, what do I ask for? Like, I know about being in congruence with the energy of something. I know about not going to the conclusion. But how do you ask big with clarity and not control it? I think controlling it.
And those are great questions. And so do you do the clearing statement on here?
Yes.
Okay.
You can, because you're a CF.
Okay, wonderful. So, and for anybody listening who may not be familiar with it, it's basically a magic wand that, it is my bracelet. I'll go ahead and take it off because I'm moving my hands a lot. So the access clearing statement are designed to bypass your logical thinking mind. And it's basically like a magic wand, clearing out the junk, and you can think about it like clearing out the cache in your computer. So, so everything that this has brought up for everybody, can we destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Wonderful. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. And everywhere that you have been taught that it's not okay to ask for what you truly desire, will you destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion?
Yes.
Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So in this, growing up, we were not taught to ask. We were taught that it's not okay to ask for what you want. Mm-hmm. So, you're going, it's like, well, this is what I'd like, but I'm not supposed to ask for it. So we very early in our lives learn how to shut that down. So and then you're hearing, well, it's okay to ask. Are you asking big enough? What are you asking for? Are you clear enough? These are kind of all like, wow, that's really, really different, way to be.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere that's kind of put you in a beyond, if you don't even know what to do, you don't even know what to ask for, will you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. So,
so I was just going to say that when I was young, we didn't have a lot of money, and I was never allowed to ask for anything because we didn't have any money.
Okay, right. So thank you for that. So everywhere that the ask is always associated with a monetary thing, will you destroy and uncreate all of that, and all the implants and projections and decisions that what an ask is and isn't, times godzillion.
Yes.
Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Whew. Okay, so what else is coming up?
So I was just going to say really quickly, I wanted to share the other day, I asked my husband to put some money into my account, my Euro account here, right? And I said, can you put some money in? There's getting low. And he gave me his phone because he was doing it on his phone. He said, okay, just put in whatever amount you want. And I'm like, what? Yeah, he said, yeah, just put in whatever. He's not even looking. Just put in whatever amount you want. I was like, oh. And I was like, oh. I don't know. So I put in an amount, but it was like, wow, I could have put in more, And it was, it's like, it brought up some stuff for me. It's like gratitude, yes, but it was also like, I don't know, that I could even ask for more, like have more, like ask, it's like, what? So I was like in shock.
Well, that's a really good point, that, we don't always know that we can ask for more, and that, it could already be there, and we're simply not asking. So in that, you assumed, right, that it wasn't, you just had that assumption. So when you have that assumption, it's like you close the door.
Yeah.
So other possibilities.
But he also never ever says no to me. So it's like, why would I even...
How does it get better than that?
Right. So why would I even worry about that? Right. But it's like, so I've got 2 things going on. He never says no to me, and I've never asked for money before. So it's like,
Yeah. That's awesome. How can you use, he never says no to you. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who get no's, right? And then it's like, what do you ask for? How do you get around the no's that you're getting? And so in all of that, would you be willing to ask? So everywhere you've concluded or decided that you're going to get a no, so you don't even ask to begin with, will you destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds.
Yeah. I know, right? Interesting dilemma that I've created for myself.
How much do I want to ask for?
Right? Yeah. So thank you. And so Caroline had said, I'm good with asking, but if you could speak about expecting it to come into fruition and when. That's
okay. Yes. All right. So, and that's the other thing that we do, right? We ask and then we expect it immediately.
Yeah.
And sometimes
it has to come in this particular package in this way. Otherwise, I don't want it.
Yes, and I was facilitating a class on Sunday where we talked about this very thing, and it was around relationships. And there was a guy who said, I get to a certain point with relationships, and then it's like it just won't go any further because he's cut off so much of himself to try to fit what he thinks the relationship is or isn't, or what that person wants. So you tend to start not asking. And I lost the original point of what was the gosh, I'm sorry. I went,
expectation, I think it
oh,
was,
yes, thank you.
expecting it to come into fruition and when.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So expectation. So, great example is you could, and I was talking to them about being clear about the type of person, what they're looking for. Said, but you could ask for somebody who's very kind and has gratitude for you and is generous, and honors you and the things that you desire. And then if you put in there, and they need to be blonde with blue eyes, and you have somebody who has everything else and they have black hair and brown eyes, are you going to see what that you have gotten what you've asked for, but it's different than what you expected? So so that question about I've asked for it, and then would you be willing to not control how it shows up or when it shows up?
I'm willing.
It's like, and sometimes it's not always easy. Sometimes you're like, no, I want it to be this certain way.
Yeah.
But what if the universe has a far greater response for you than what you've decided that question and what you're looking for is?
Mm-hmm.
So in that, would you be willing to follow the whispers of the universe, the little breadcrumbs that may, and it could show up nothing like what you expect. But if you follow that awareness, you're hearing a little whisper or a little tickle or something, and you get this weird, like, I'm going to stop at this place that I never stop at in the middle of the day. And then you stop at that place in the middle of the day, and then you meet somebody, you have an amazing conversation, and that person knows somebody, and then that person, and then the next thing you know, you're getting something will come from that. It could be, if you're looking for a relationship or you've asked for a relationship with a significant, partnership or whatever it is that you're looking for, or if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking for more clients or whatever it is, by following the things that don't make logical sense, where will that take you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like asking the question and then not having the expectation of how it will show up. So are you willing to destroy and create all your points of views and conclusions about how and when and what it will show up as?
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
And anything or anyone standing in the way of that, let's destroy and uncreate it, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. And are you willing to stop being a control freak of magnitude and allowing and are you and allowing the universe the time that it may require to rearrange entanglements to get you, and then it may and it could require you to, like I said, follow these steps, to these awarenesses, if you call so and so or whatever, to get to whatever it is that you've asked for. And are you willing for it to show up absolutely nothing like what you expect it will show up as?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
I am. So
right.
Then, so then my question goes to, what if you have had this dream that you've always had forever? What happens to that? Like, let's say there's, you've had this vision for your life or something you've wanted to create for so long or experience for so long. This is your dream thing. What do you do with that when you've asked and asked and asked and it hasn't shown up? And it's like, what do I do with that? Do I just put it aside and say, okay, well, maybe I'm not meant to have that. Maybe I'm not meant to experience that. Maybe, right?
Well, yeah, those are great questions. And, what are you concluding? So has it shown up in a different way? Is one of the questions that I always like to ask. And another great question that I do ask a lot, you asked me earlier in the conversation, is what's right about this I'm not getting.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Right.
Yes.
And sometimes there can be a situation where I still can get frustrated and everything else, with things that are going on in my life. And sometimes it's like, oh, what's right about this I'm not getting. And then even just doing that, I start to laugh and I'm like, okay, Miss Control Freak, how about, just allowing, but it's there's something about asking that question for me that starts to shift the energies. Like if I've realized that I'm trying to figure it out, oh, okay, or I'm trying to control it, what else? And then there's the what else is possible. So if you have a dream and the dream isn't coming through, well, what else is required? Right? What am I, what can I perceive that, what else is required here? And if you go to the space of it's not showing up, it's not showing up, it's not showing up, well, guess what?
It's not showing up.
Right? So if you're in the space of, wow, I'm really maybe, and having the realization that you could be in that conclusion, then what else truly is possible now? What questions can I ask? Who can I see? What is required here to help bring this along? And and the other question I'd like to throw out in that is that dream, is that even yours? Because we think that oh no, right? Because so many times, the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we have aren't even ours. So another wonderful tool is, who does this belong to? Right? For every thought, feeling, and emotion, is this even mine? Is this dream even mine? Or, because I had an amazing class on Sunday, and somebody else was talking about how they thought they wanted to do this thing, and it wasn't even theirs. And it was about a job, and they had done all this education to get to it. And then it was, oh my gosh, this isn't even mine. This was my mother who wanted me to do this. Right. So, if something is, if you're, if you feel like you're hitting a brick wall about whatever it is, start asking those questions. Is this my desire? Do I truly desire this? And then if you're getting it, getting a yes, it's still a yes, and it's light and joyful, and then keep asking those questions and follow, like, what else? And, if it's a dream to go to Bali, and you get an invitation, but it's to Tahiti, are you going to say no to Tahiti? Because your dream is only Bali, right? So, and that's the other thing. It's like, are you willing to not have the blinders on and really look at all of the possibilities and the opportunities that may get you to Bali? But if you're saying no to everything, right?
So true. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. And so, Caroline, just so you know, that wasn't just for you. It was also for me too, because I have something as well. So Caroline thinks I'm talking about her, but no. But there's a question on the chat says, so when we ask and something like we asked for does not show up, does it mean that the universe is trying to find something similar that matches the energy of the ask?
It could be, right? And that's where you can ask, right? Ask the universe, like, and ask your knowing, like, is this what I'm asking for showing up different than what I expected? Or is something else required? Is this the beginning of it? And usually, like, when I had no idea when I went to my first bars class that I would end up, 6 years later, being a certified facilitator and doing all the things that I'm doing, and happy and joyful and loving life, and like, what else? And I had no idea of any of those things. And like, even when I went to a space of constriction about whether or not I was gonna even become a certified facilitator, because I'd done all the training, and then I was just like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I was like, you know what, just relax, right? Just go and take the class. You don't have to do anything with it. And when I gave myself that permission, I was like, oh, okay. So I took the pressure off myself, and it's like, there is no expectation there. And so if you're willing to live in the space of no expectation, what else is possible? What else can be created that, again, is way beyond anything that you can even imagine? And that's another thing I love to ask, like, what else is possible beyond anything you can never even imagine? Right? So it gets you out of any confinements that you might have from your mind about what you can create.
I love that. Yeah, thank you. And so Caroline was saying too, is this dream even mine? Is the dream what I desire? Brilliant question. She said, I'm open to that. That was a wow moment. So.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Right. Yeah. Is this mine? And if it is, I mean, great. And again, it's just like, and would you guys also be willing to be an allowance for everything that you have created up to now in your life? You know, all the ways that you've judged yourself for what isn't showing up. Might have done that just a little bit myself.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, right? Yeah. But would you be willing to, get out of judgment of whatever has shown up in your life and be like, okay, cool. So now what else is possible? And when you're in the space of non-judgment and allowance for possibilities, then what? Again, and I know I've said this many times, but what else can show up then, and what else is possible? And in asking those questions, there's no definition. There's no box. There's no confinement. There's no conclusion. It's really like, hey, universe, and some of the things that come up are just, some of them will be answered very quickly. Some of them take time. Some of them haven't shown up. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it's all just like, if you stay in that allowance space.
But even if something hasn't shown up yet, it doesn't mean that you wait and not do anything and not create. Continue creating your life. Continue asking questions. Continue having fun. Right? Continue living.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't be on the sidelines waiting for that one thing to come.
Yeah, exactly. Because it might take a while. And sometimes there are other things that have to take place first before that one thing comes,
Absolutely.
Wow. It's just interesting where we go to with our minds, and not just with our mind, but like we just go to places where we judge ourselves, right? We judge that we haven't created this or done this or experienced that, or hasn't shown up, and so it must be because we're bad.
Must be.
Must be.
But I love, one of the things I love to say is, and I know everybody here is going to do the same thing. You're your own judge, jury, and executioner.
Absolutely.
Right? So would you like to stop that now, please?
Sure. Yes.
And anything that does not allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, potted, buck, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what were you going to say?
I was going to say about, acknowledgement, it's like, what about acknowledging what you have created so far? How far you have come from certain situations or whatever, acknowledge that, and acknowledge that you're here right now on the call with us. Acknowledge that. That's also creating your life.
Absolutely. And that's what we tend to not do. Again, like we're not taught to ask, and we're not taught to acknowledge. And you all are brilliant creators, and where we tend to just be like, more, and not acknowledge everything that you have created. Mm-hmm. And that includes the crap. Like, I'm like, wow, I've really created a lot of crap in my life. I'm pretty brilliant. So if I can do that, what if I took that brilliance and created things that work for me in my life? And in that, it was like, oh, wow, like really, and acknowledging and being grateful for what is in your life right now. And in that space of gratitude, you can't have judgment. Mm-hmm. You can't be in the same, you can't be like judging yourself and grateful. Mm-hmm. So if you choose gratitude for everything in your life, then, and acknowledge what you have created, it shifts so much. It truly, truly does.
And, that's one of the places where I have not been really good at acknowledging or celebrating, celebrating the little things, forget about the big things, but celebrating even the little things. For me, it's like do one thing and then it's like move on to the next thing. There's no, wow, that was fantastic. Like there's none of that. It's like, next.
Oh, yeah. And even acknowledging, like, have you really stopped and acknowledged what you created here with this whole series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it's amazing, and it's contributed to a lot of people, and there's awesome calls. So, you know, like, take the moment to be grateful for, you know, that idea was born, and that you went through with it. You've created it, and I'm sure, like, that it's been way more than you even,
Oh, it's been
when you
amazing.
first create, you know, when
Yeah.
when the idea first was born to where it is today. It's very different, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's like, wow, I'm so glad I chose it, you know, and so acknowledging that even if there were any like technical issues and blah, 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 right?
Right.
Like still, it's like, it's such a contribution. It's been such a contribution, and it's going to continue to be a contribution, not just to me, but to everybody who watches these, you know, it's like just these conversations are just, they open you up to more, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And when you
And
can allow yourself to open up to more and ask questions, are you willing to create your life? You know, and that's what this is about. Are you willing to create your life, or are you still wanting to be on autopilot, right?
right. Right. Absolutely. And, you know, truly, my friends, like, truly, 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 what else is possible for you? Like, what can you add to your life that lights you up? You know, that gives you joy. And when you follow the joy, more joy comes. Like, it's like inviting joy to the party of your life.
And it's so funny. And you know, life is magical when you allow yourself to have fun, to experience joy, to be the joy, to ask for the joy. And sometimes asking for the joy just means saying, hey universe, show me something beautiful. Hey universe, show me what would be fun for
Yes.
me today, right? And then keeping your eyes and ears and your space open to receiving that, you know? So,
Totally. Totally.
right? And are you willing to receive? Are you willing to receive, you know, little things, even like when the sun is beautiful and shining? Are you willing to receive that? I know I am. I just love the sun. Every time I see the sun, is like, oh, look,
Yes.
the sun.
Aw. Right. Yeah. And nature, like, you know, this beautiful earth that we live on, and the time that we've chosen to be here, it's amazing contributions. You can look out your window and see, you know, even the bare trees have beauty, and you can see the birds, and you know, like, there's so much to, you know, if you're in the part of the world right now where winter is, or if you've got snow, or if you're in Australia and you've got the summer, wherever you are, you know, universe, show me something beautiful. I love saying that too. And you see it when you're asking for it, you see it.
Yeah. So, you know, what would it take for you to ask for it? Because then you will see it. If you're not asking for it, it means you're not focusing on it. You're not aware of it. You know, your attention
Mhm.
is not on it. But when you ask for it, your attention is automatically on it, and you will see it and receive it. And so you just mentioned something really important, Betsy, about choice. So we chose to be here
Mhm.
now, right? And so, believe it or not, we chose to be in this lifetime, in this body, and the experiences that we're in. All of these are our choices based on our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions that we've had, you know, up to this point. So you are here on this call with us today because you chose to be here,
Mhm.
right? And you could have chosen something else, you know. And so I'm so grateful that you did choose to be here. But are you seeing how even that little bit, that little choice, is it little? No, not really. It's a choice, right? You chose to be here. So what else can you choose for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, there, like you said, that the gratitude for the people, everybody, you know, who's listening with us right now and who will listen in the future, like, would you be willing to be grateful for you? You know, and lower your barriers, really lower your barriers to yourself, and be willing to be grateful for you. And in that space of gratitude, you know, what will open up for you is marvelous. And it's like, yes, please, more of that, more of that, more of that. And I know we've said that a lot, and it's like, yes. And it is that the fuel that's required for other things that you're desiring to come to fruition.
And so So, I kind of missed a little bit of it because my husband finally did come home, right?
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but it's about, adding, for me, it's about what can I add to my life that would be fun, right? So, and what can I add to my life that would create more, or to my business, right?
Mhm.
And
Absolutely. Well, and even like when I got your invitation to appear here on this show, I asked the question, and it was like an immediate yes. It was, oh yes, and it was a joyful, light um, answer. And
yay.
wow, and I was like, how lucky am I that you invited me? I mean, truly. And I was so grateful for it. And then and then all the stuff was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to get her this. And like, you were so easy to work with. And it's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm very grateful for my knowing and my awareness that I did ask that, it was going to be joyful and fun. And if if the other had happened, like where I asked question and it was like heavy and a no, then if that happens, ask more questions. Who does it belong to? Is this mine or something else? And I would have asked more questions. And then if it was after all of those questions, still getting a heavy and like, it's just not like to do it, then I would have, said, thank you so much for the opportunity, maybe another time.
Yeah.
And because I have also learned that if you don't follow that awareness and you do it anyhow, after all those questions, then there's a reason you're getting that it's not the right time.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all it is. It's just not the right time.
Right. And it doesn't mean that there's anything against you or anything against me. It would just have simply have been, this wasn't the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times we go into, like, if you get the clunky or heavy or whatever, and then you conclude that, well, that means that I can't ever work with you. No, not really. It just means this particular moment in time.
Yeah.
Right. So
I never thought of that, but interesting. But that's a possibility. But yeah, and that's the thing. It's like sometimes we don't trust that knowing or that awareness that we get. We bypass it or we force something, right? And whenever you do that, like you said, it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out the way you think it's going to. But even that is an awareness. There's like, okay, I kind of knew that, but I didn't follow it. But now I know that next time I will follow my awareness.
Yeah. Well, and we all have these occasions where like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done whatever. And I did it anyhow. And so then you just kind of laugh and go, well, I overrode myself and I knew it. And okay.
Yeah, and that's okay too, because that's, you're flexing that muscle, right? Flexing that trusting and that awareness muscle. And then you get to see what is true for you and what's not, and what's light for you and what's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Caroline has a question. I love Caroline. She's always commenting and asking questions. She said, I'm feeling such humbleness in a loving way in asking, is this dream even mine? Is this dream even mine? So I am. So is this dream even mine? She's asking you about her dream. Is that dream even hers? I'm very thankful for your awareness, Betsy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, and just keep asking that question. Is this mine? And if you're not getting an answer, then that's okay. Ask. And what you could do even with the dream, and I'm glad we kind of brought back to that. So in that dream, like write down whatever those things are that your targets or your dream or whatever it is. And then you can just like, if other ideas or things pop in, write them all down and then keep asking those questions. Is this mine? And there can be a lot of different things that you desire in your life. And if you write them all down, then you go back. Hey, is that mine? Oh, no, that's not even mine. That's my mother's. Oh, that's my this. And so then you go back to that list, cross out what is, and we talked a little bit about the light and the heavy. If you're getting that it's heavy, ask those questions. Is this mine? Someone else's? What do I do with this? Right? And
yeah.
What do I? And so you could have this awareness. what do I do with this awareness? Is there anything to be done? Like, do I need to ask more questions? Do I wait? And from that space of you'll start to get whether or not that dream is yours.
Mm-hmm. And one thing you just said really quickly, so we don't need to know whose it is, it's
not at all. Yeah, you'll simply get a yes or a no, like if it's mine or someone else's, and it's just, I like to say, like, just return it to sender. Mm-hmm. And it goes like, you can, like when you get an envelope in the mail and it's not addressed to you, it's not yours, just put a line through it, return to sender. Mm-hmm. And you just send it back, and you're sending it, and it doesn't, so you're like, because if a lot of people will have a point of view, and I know I even did in the beginning, it's like, but I don't want to return it to them because then they're going to have it. Yeah. Well, it's more just returning it out back. And it's not even like, you don't need to know who it is, and it's not like it's going to hit them and then they're going to have it more or anything. It's simply a way of releasing it from you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So yeah, return it to sender. It's not yours. And most of again, we are so much more aware than we give ourselves any credit for. Yeah. And so most of the thoughts and feelings and emotions aren't even ours to begin with. Mm-hmm. So in that question of who does it belong to, who does it truly belong to?
Yeah.
It's like, keep asking.
And so I wanted to just come back to a little bit about, you said earlier on in the conversation that we are not even asking big enough sometimes.
Right.
So, right. Yeah, can we talk about that? What?
Yeah. Well, and how outrageous, and I'm using air quotes here, right? Because that's even a judgment. It's like, but how outrageous are you willing to ask? Like, how big are you willing to ask? Are you willing to ask for, whatever? Like, mm-hmm. And I realized that I haven't asked as big as I really desire. So I'm like, I'm going to change that. And just like asking for things that, and again, with no point of view of whether or not it shows up, and I'm having fun with my ask. And I realized that that's kind of the first time I've been having fun with them, like really giggly and light and joyful. I'm like, and that's when I realized, like, I have not been asking for enough. So everywhere that you might think that there's a finite universe that we live in, mm-hmm. and you can only have X, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
I'm a good day. Right and wrong, good, bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, yeah, what are some outrageous, while you're out with that piece of paper and showing your dreams, what are some outrageous asks that you've never allowed yourself to ask because you have, decided, included, judged, whatever. So you don't even ask. Mm-hmm. So what are those for you?
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting because I was talking to somebody last week, I guess it was, about my business. I guess it was about my business. And we got to a conversation about my business wanting to be $20 million. And it's like, what? It's like, I would never have gone to $20 million. Like, I would have gone to multi six figures, but it's like, what? So
right?
it's like,
yeah, right. And so that kind of puts you in a beyond. So all the beyonds, keeping you in the beyonds, will you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. So like, maybe it's even more than 20 million. Like, so everywhere that you've put a limit on what your business, and this is for everybody, everywhere you put a limit on how much money can come into your bank account, how much money your businesses could make, how many, like whatever else you've decided, will you now revoke or can't, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all of the decisions and the oaths and the vows that you've made to keep that in place?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and puck, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. And a lot of the stuff is not cognitive. It's not like you sit around going, well, there's no way my business will ever be at $20 million, right? But it's that like, wow. So So that's a perfect example. So have you been asking big enough for the business?
Not at all.
Right. So,
Not
right
at
now
all.
you've destroyed and created that. So now what else is possible? So, and what is required? Like
Yes.
universe, show me what is required to, contribute to that. And again, with no point of view. And those are some of the keys, right? Just not to have
Yeah.
the point of view, get out of control of whatever that is
Yeah.
in your life.
That's a tough one. Yeah, that having no point of view and getting out of control.
Yeah.
It's going to take some practice. It's going to take some clearing. It's going to take some destroying and uncreating.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, I did a call I don't know if it was a year ago or something. It's like, are you a control freak of magnitude? Maybe 2 years at this point. Because I was just laughing at myself, and I've been a control freak of magnitude, wanting to control everything, micromanage, micromanage my child and my husband and my this and my that. And it's like, oh my God, get out of your own way. Because, like for me, all of that micromanaging kept my life limited. Right. So would you be willing to be chaos walking?
Yes.
Like, oh my God. Right. And
Yes.
in the chaos, right, from that chaos, being willing to be out of control, out of form, out of definition, out of linearity, out of control.
Yeah.
Again,
Total significance and all that stuff.
Yeah. It opens the invitation for something different.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. There was something in this, like slightly there, slightly not there. So maybe it'll come back. But there was like, maybe I'll come back. But in the meantime, before it comes back, if somebody else has a question, just let me know. Raise your hand or type in the queue into the chat box there. But I wanted to share that Betsy has a gift for us as well, for all of you. So if you go to the gifts page, it is a free exploration session with Betsy. So Betsy, do you want to talk about what that free exploration session is? It's hard for me to say for some reason.
I love doing them. I really do. And a lot can change even in just that short amount of time. We basically, whatever it is that you would like to talk about, we will talk about. And I will ask questions and do clearings, and we'll see what else, we can explore together, basically. And you can email me at accessbetsy@gmail.com. And it's Betsy is spelled Betsy. And we'll set something up and just play and have fun. And there's, like no expectation on my part. It's simply, a gift that I would love to gift you guys. So I hope that, somebody will want to come play with me.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm not worried about that. Because it's like, even in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, you can receive so many different awarenesses,
Absolutely.
Sometimes we're just in our head. It's about getting out of your own way. That's what that was the thing. It's like, how do you get out of your own way so that you can allow the universe a contribution to you and support you? And
and it's using these tools, you asking the questions. When you realize that you're doing it, stop it, right? Choose something different, and don't beat yourself up, because it's for me, it's all part of the amazing journey that we're on. And just stop judging yourself. Be kind to yourself, and be in gratitude.
Exactly. And so as soon as you notice that, hey, I am being a control freak, or, oh my goodness, I'm like just in my head and like going to conclusion, as soon as you're aware of it, stop and choose something different. It's that simple, right?
It really, really is that simple. And the other thing is, like sometimes you could just be in a crabby mood, and it might not be stoppable immediately. Well, then give yourself permission to be in a crabby mood for a while.
Exactly.
And don't beat yourself up about it. And, it's like, all right, well, you can give yourself an hour, 2 hours a day. And then, and then even in that, in being the allowance space for yourself of what's going on, it'll change.
Exactly. I usually give myself an hour when I'm in a yucky mood. I'll give myself an hour and I'll watch it, watch how I'm responding to myself, and whatever it is I'm doing, I like to watch it and see. It's like, interesting, right? And then I'll give myself an hour, and then after that hour or two is done, it's like, all right, what's next?
Yep.
And
well, and I had recently, I had just some, and I knew it wasn't mine. When I asked the question, is this mine? It's like, no. And I was returning to sender, and it wasn't dissipating immediately. And I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? Well, and I knew the next day it would be gone. It's like, okay, cool. You willing to be in this? You can. And I was like, yeah. And whatever it was just a little spongy and sticky. I'm like, okay, cool. And the next day I woke up and it was all gone. I was like, yay, thank you.
Yes, sometimes we don't realize it, but sometimes when that happens is we are actually being a contribution to somebody else or something else. It could be the planet, it could be, so sometimes don't beat yourself up. Just like, all right, fine. And then usually, like you said, next day you're fine, after a sleep cycle, out of your system, whatever it is. And then ask, okay, what now? What do I, and you can ask, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be to be blah, 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 whatever, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was agreeing with you. I was like, exactly.
I mean, there's so many tools that we can use, and so many questions that we can ask. And I think the biggest one is, what else is possible here?
Yes.
I love that. And what next is always the next one. A universe, what's next? Show me. Because sometimes when we get stuck in our heads, it's like we can't figure it out. We can't think. It's just like.
It's like, oh, I'm glad you said that, because it reminded me. It's like, universe, show me. The other thing, like, if anybody has had, it's even in the BARS manual. It's like, your mind is a terrible thing. Waste it.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here. Like, get out. Right? Get your BARS run.
Your BARS run.
Getting your BARS run just like resets everything.
Go outside. For me, it's about get your BARS run. Go outside. Have some Coke.
Yeah. There's so many wonderful tools.
Have some salt. Sometimes that's what your body requires. Is either sugar or salt or fresh air. Or laugh. Watch a funny YouTube video or watch some of these videos and see how many questions I can ask all at once and giving the poor guests no time to speak. It's like, right? You should see me at the beginning of the series. I would ask all these questions at once, and then it's like now I've gotten better. It's like, okay, I'll ask one thing and then keep going. Right, but it's like, how much more fun can you have with your life? With creating your life, and creating your life really truly means just having fun. Being and doing what you desire. As opposed to other people or society or anything else, but doing what's right for you.
Yeah.
Being what's right for you.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's where the magic is. Show me the magic, and the magic is you. That should be like a thing.
I love that. And anywhere that you're not willing to acknowledge the magic that you are, will you just run and create that?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna put a book on 9 shorts, boys, beyonds.
Exactly. So we are such magical, potent creators of magnitude. That we don't even realize how much we are changing the world just by us being us, just by us being here and present, just by us asking questions. We're changing everything.
Yes, right? So true.
When we get out of our head, when we get out of our own way, and we are enjoying life and having fun, we are changing the world just by being us.
So true. Yes.
So for me, creating my life means having fun. And what does that look like for you? What does having fun look like for you, right? So for me, it's about travel, taking classes, talking to people, and so much more. But, know what that is for you, and then start doing that more and more. Ask for that to show up, right?
Definitely. And what lights you up? What fills you with joy? And choose more of that.
Choose
Like,
more of that and ask for that to show up, you know, and
yeah,
keep choosing it. And that's the thing. It's like choose, 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 choose. Continue. Don't stop. You
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
as you continue to choose and play and have fun, more opportunities and more possibilities will come before you. And then again, ask if it's, you know, right for you. Ask and then choose it.
Yes, absolutely. And I am like living proof that, ask and what will show up, it will blow you away. And what continues to show up, and I just keep asking, and it's like, wow, what else? Who else would like to play with me? Who else would like to host me for classes? And like it just, and then I get these phone calls or an email or whatever, and it's just like, wow. And it's way already beyond my wildest imagination. And I just,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just started. And I know for all of you, like, it's just starting. And what magic, what magic are you that you've never acknowledged? And in acknowledging the magic you be, what other magic will you create?
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
you're
thank you so
welcome.
much, everyone, for being here for this show, for, you know, being present, for wanting to, desiring to create your reality, for choosing to create your reality in a bigger way for you and what's right for you. So thank you. I so appreciate you all for being here. These conversations are such a gift because they open up more and more for you each time you watch and listen. So this will be
Definitely.
on YouTube shortly. It'll be on the replay page shortly, but definitely go back and listen to it again because I know we talked about so much. So
So much.
we went everywhere, right?
We sure did.
So thank you so much, Betsy. This was absolutely marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
grateful.
I'm truly grateful and honored. Thank you all for being here with us today, too. That was so much fun.
So much fun. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, afternoon, evening. And until next time, continue to live your life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Stop.